Laudetur Jesus Christus. I thought that it would be a good thing for me to introduce myself and a little bit the idea of the work which we hope to begin now with the help of Our Lady's Immaculate Heart and the Divine Child of Prague, our two patrons, in your country of Brazil. For many, the traditional Catholic faith, the resistance to the modern church, is either the work of the St. Pius X Society or what they call the groups of Ecclesia Dei, or the resistance, so-called. What is our work? Why should I, as a bishop from the United States, come to Brazil and ask you to help us and in return, of course, to receive our assistance? Why is that? Well, first and foremost, before I tell you even about myself, I want to tell you about what is so important today. That is to say that the modern church is not the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is the Immaculate Bride of Christ. She is without stain. She teaches us the truth. And as our Lord said at the Last Supper, Father, sanctify them in the truth. That is the role of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church cannot give her children falsehood. She cannot feed them poison. She cannot give them a bad mass, which is sacrilegious, invalid. All of that is impossible. That is against the very nature of the church herself. The modern church today, with this man Bergoglio holding a witch's wand in his hand, shows its hand. That is to say, it's very clear. And if you, the faithful of Brazil, do not react against this, what will happen? You will end up being totally taken in by this false church. And that means, finally, taken in by the work of Satan, the devil. And even in all of this, I insist, there is a certain link with the occult, with witchcraft, and the rest, incredible things. No, you must save your soul by remaining Catholic. You must have nothing to do with those who want any sort of a link or a condition with the modern religion. That religion is not of Christ. There is only one church, and she has 4 marks, which will last until the end of time. Those who are in these other movements, all of them are compromised with the new religion. Some are openly under the new religion, such as the Ecclesia Dei groups, Good Pastor, for example. The good pastor of that group is not our Lord, I can assure you of that. And those sheep are led to destruction. For many, the traditional movement, as this, really it's just a matter of remaining Catholic, period, nothing else. The traditional movement, as it is called, is uniquely the work of the St. Pius X Society. Is that true? No, that's not true. Let me give you my own example. I was born in 1951 in the city of Detroit, state of Michigan, United States of America. I grew up under the old religion, even though when I was a little bit older, the changes began with Vatican II. I made my first communion while Pope Pius XII had just died a little bit before. I remember the old church and the Catholic ways and the Catholic doctrine. I decided to leave the modern seminary. I was a monk and I was studying for the priesthood in the major seminary of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I decided to leave because I understood, by the grace of God, that is not the Catholic Church. And I do not want to be a member of that church. All of the other groups, what do they want to do? They want to force you still to have a connection with this cursed and diabolic religion of Vatican II. We call it the Novus Ordo, which is a Masonic term, because the Masons are behind this new religion. Well, by God's grace, I left that new religion, and actually, I had no intention to pursue the priesthood anymore, because there was no way of becoming a priest. Then, through a Benedictine monk whom I knew, I heard about Écone and Archbishop Lefebvre. I went to the St. Pius X Society to receive what training I could get, and especially a valid ordination. I am very grateful to the most saintly Archbishop Lefebvre and to those early and generous priests who assisted me for my priestly training. But I'll tell you this, I, by God's grace, had my Catholic faith before I went to Pius X, before Écone, and that did not depend on them. I did not learn it from them. And when, unfortunately, a few years after my ordination, Archbishop Lefebvre and his priests began to prepare compromises in order to make an accord or an agreement with the false church of Vatican II, John Paul II at that time, that big heretic that he is, then I realized I had to get out of that group too, because it was the same thing all over again. And then I became a priest that was independent. Eventually, I got to know other traditional Catholic priests, bishops, and groups, and I was ordained by Archbishop Lefebvre in 1976. But then, after having to leave because of that approach to the modern church, why then one bishop of one traditional group whose lineage, apostolic succession, dates to the very saintly, very holy and good man, Archbishop Nodentuk. I was asked to become a bishop, especially to assist those who had also left the Pius X Society. That was 25 years ago. I was consecrated a bishop at the end on the Feast of St. Andrew 25 years ago, and I've been a bishop ever since. I have my own parish in Cincinnati, Ohio, St. Gertrude the Great, and I have a number of priests, about 15, who work with me currently throughout the world. I have priests in Europe and in Mexico and in South America, by God's grace. And our job is what? Our job is to help you to save your soul, to have no compromise, no connection with, very important, with the modern church. Because all of that is to establish some sort of a link, a hook in your soul. And with this hook, the devil will pull you right down and right back again to the modern religion. To that, you must say no. I had working with me years ago a priest from Brazil, and he assisted me in the United States and also for my trips to Mexico when I was first a bishop. But I never thought that there would be the opportunity to go to Brazil and to work with Catholics there, to tell them, yes, it is possible still to have the Mass and the sacraments, the true faith, as well as no connection with the conciliar church, the religion of this cursed Bergoglio, who is an antichrist. And that's my message to you. It's possible. We should work together and collaborate. I'm happy to be today with Father Rodrigo, and he'll say a few words to you in a moment. And we're considering the possibility of starting, in effect, a pre-seminary to prepare vocations for further philosophical and theological studies, either in Brazil or perhaps at our seminary in Florida in the United States, near Tampa. We already have there one seminarian from Brazil. Well, that's a little introduction of who I am and what we're doing. What I consider to be so important, and what I insist on again, is that we have no association with Bergoglio and the heretical church. To do so is to destroy everything. It is to destroy as well the sanctity of the sacrifice of the Mass by mentioning at the holiest time the name of this great heretic, and also by telling a lie. Because, let's be honest, no one, not even many of the Ecclesia Dei groups, no one who follows the traditional Mass really follows the new religion. They might pretend to, but they don't. And those who claim to have a connection or a respect for or to be associated with Bergoglio, what are they doing? Like the Lefebvrists, they think that they will save the Church by changing, by corrupting Catholic doctrine. No. The infallibility of the ordinary magisterium, the powers of the Supreme Pontiff, these are Catholic doctrines. We can't change them, as the Society and the Resistance have done. Those groups represent a kind of a mythology, superstition, confusion, division. They are a sect more than part of the true Church. And if we begin this little work, however humble it may be, it is to help people to practice their faith without any compromise with all of these groups. I invite you to contact us. I invite you to ask questions. I invite you to work with our priests in Brazil and to assist us to get this great apostolate in your great country, it's a very big one, of course, Brazil, underway. We will need your assistance for us to be able to do that. But I am confident in Our Lady's Immaculate Heart that she wills such a thing to take place. And we will simply continue to do our duty, myself as a bishop, the fathers as priests, and you the faithful. You must do your duty too, to assist us.